Hey guys, tonight we drift back to ancient Gao, a place where history sleeps beneath a canopy of stars, and whispers echo through warm desert winds. As we paint this scene with colors of dawn, slowly unraveling the night, you can almost smell the earthy sweetness of barley mash from sun-drenched fields, and feel the coolness of the early morning sand beneath your feet. You probably won't survive this charming cocktail of mystery. It's far too soothing. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is in your part of the world. Let's share these whispers across time zones. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. In the hazy hours before sunrise, when the sky turns a gentle purple, you find yourself in a quiet corner of ancient Gao. The air is cool against your skin, tempered with a hint of spice carried from distant lands. As you wander through this sleepy town bottom, heavy with history, you notice a small courtyard where a woman is kneeling deep in the simple ritual of life as she grinds seeds. The rhythmic thud of her stone pestle creates a comforting cadence like an ancient heartbeat. These seeds are tiny, unfamiliar now, yet once they were worth more than ivory. You lean in and detect a complex fragrance part, citrus part, smoky pepper. Swirling around you, a fleeting aromatic delight that sparks your curiosity. With a smile, the woman catches your eye, as if she knows the secrets etched into the very earth beneath her. You wonder if she realizes these seeds, now a mundane part of everyday life, were treasure enough to spur dangerous journeys across sprawling dunes and treacherous seas. "Good morning," she murmurs softly voice, as gentle as the morning breeze, and continues her work without pausing. You ask about the seeds, and she chuckles lightly, a sound as warming as a sunbeam sneaking over the horizon. "These are paradise grains," she explains. "Spices beyond price once upon a time, yet today they're nothing but humble seeds." Historians still debate whether these paradise grains were traded for their flavor or for their mystique. But isn't it delightful how the mundane and the exquisite can weave such a tapestry together? You kneel beside her, captivated by her rhythmic movements, the pestle sweeping across the stone with practiced grace. It's a comforting, repetitive dance, each strike ringing out like a tiny, echoing question mark that hangs in the cool morning air. As light begins to thread through the sky, you notice the contours of ancient Gao revealing themselves, earthen walls rising up like sleepy giants shaking off the night. The town is waking slowly, indolently, as if reluctant to let go of the dreams that linger in this fragile space between night and day. You watch as villagers begin their day with quiet rituals, and there's an understanding that ripples through you that people have always gathered, bartered, and built homes. These simple acts are the true gems of history, not the grandiose tales of kings and battles. Speaking of kings, did you hear the one about a royal advisor who couldn't tell salt from sugar talk about a sticky situation at the banquet? Gao, like other cities along the mighty Niger River, was a bustling hub, once a crossroad for traders, a vibrant tapestry woven with the threads of diverse cultures and stories. Over time, it has shifted like sand dunes, yet some things remain constant, unchanged by the tides of time. You catch the glint of metal from a nearby stall, a merchant arranging his wares, each piece catching the morning light in a dance of warmth and shine. It's easy to imagine tales draped across these dusty streets, colorful and bold, sewn together by the footsteps of those who've called them home. The scent of those crushed paradise grains hangs in the air, reminding you that history isn't just in the grand sagas, but in these tiny, enduring fragments too. With a final echoing thud, the woman gathers the ground seeds into a neat cloth, tying them with a loop so deft, it's as if she's bandaging the past itself. The dawn is now a brilliant brush of orange and gold, ushering in the day with a quiet fanfare. You let the warmth flood your senses as you rise to leave, offering a gentle nod of gratitude to the woman. Her smile follows you as you step back through time for a night's rest. The secrets of Gao unfurling leisurely around you. As you walk away, the baritone grunt of a camel somewhere in the distance punctuates the air, a reminder that beyond these stone walls lies the expanse of a desert full of tales untold and songs unsung. You pause for a moment, listening to the harmony of life. Around you, every sound and scent a thread in the intricate tapestry of existence. The shadows stretch long over the sandy plains as you find yourself perched atop a camel, lazily swaying with its rhythmic gait. A soothing breeze carries whispers of the Sahel, that vast sun-baked stretch where land meets sky and the earth's palette is painted in golden hues. You can almost taste the dust, feel it settle on your skin like a fine light powder. The caravan you accompany slinks silently across the desert, a league of elongated shadows beneath the vibrant day. As the camels pad their way across the endless expanse, your mind drifts to the bustling oases that lie scattered across this seemingly barren sea of sand. Oases that surprisingly often serve as collection points for trade routes cascading with life. You wonder at the improbable beauty of these patches of greenery, like emeralds set into a landscape of amber. Tonight the Sahel stories unfold on spiced tongues and dusted fabrics, where goods travel not across stormy seas, but through a tapestry woven of riverbanks, shadowed forests and plains that crackle in the sun. A place where traders and travelers gather to share tales as old as the sand, yet ever new with each retelling. The bustle of trading echoes with patterns of laughter and haggling, a melody that resonates with history. You imagine what might await in these local kitchens when the goods finally settle behind sturdy doors. What culinary mysteries does this land whisper of born, not from distant shores, but birthed in the very heart of the continent? As the caravan halts and you slide down from your perch, your fingers brush against worn, dusty bags hanging from the camel sides. These bags filled not with exotic spices or silks of the East, but with earthy local fare. Legend tells of herdsmen speaking in animated tones about the day's journeys, flavoring their words, much like the ingredients they trade. Whether it's smoked fish from the Niger's waters or pungent spices coaxed from wild seeds caught on the wind, you can feel your curiosity igniting with a gentle burn akin to the fire of chili on the tongue. Your bare feet find coolness in the sand as the sun descends lower, painting everything in soft, warm gradients. You meander through a marketplace, unfurling before you a vibrant tapestry of colors and sounds. Traders call out in melodic confusion, their voices blending in a harmonious cacophony. Each stall brims with produce just as lush and varied as the land itself, baskets of plump sun-heavy dates, bowls of verdant okra, and small sacks packed with bright red peanuts. You wonder if anyone here ever dared mix them all together for a dish completely unique to this place, perhaps with a sprinkle of mystery spice for good measure. A woman draped in rich indigo caftans gestures with a knowing smile. She offers you a fruit hard and green. It is a baobab fruit round and mysterious like a locked box, waiting to reveal its secrets. As you take it, the trader winks, knowing full well you're puzzling over her offering. Historians, much like you in this moment, often debate whether the fruit's appeal comes more from its novelty or its tangy taste. You nod in thanks, your fingers clenching softly around your newfound treasure. As you press onward through the market, your mind dances with visions of what you might create with these earthly wonders. Your thoughts flicker to the simple yet satisfying act of rekindling the ancient practice of translating raw gifts of the land into warmth and sustenance in a kitchen. The walk home echoes with a gentle slap of sandals and songbirds calling out for twilight. Stirred by stories and scents from the marketplace, your heart feels lighter than the warm air that carries you homeward. As doorways yawn open, revealing hearths aglow, you imagine the first pluck of a stringed instrument, its solitary note curling gracefully through the air. Inside your imagined kitchen, the evening's lull brings ease, and the clamor of traders quiets to a gentle hum. You begin gently poking at the baobab with your finger to test its ripeness and wonder what kind of marvel could unfold once it rolls from your palms onto the work table. The kitchen smells alive of garlic, of roasting nuts, of something sharp and sweet simmering somewhere nearby. It's as if each ingredient is whispering its tale of journeys through wind and water, desert and forest. Your fingers dance over wooden bowls, a melody composed of clinking and scraping. Strangers blend into friends as you stir this gathering of edible stories, sometimes spicy, sometimes sweet, always soulful. You wonder if the ancient herds and caravans shared these moments, lost in the rhythm of a stirring spoon and the crackling of wood in the stove. The evening winds through the open window, cooling your skin after the heat of the day, and a gentle sigh escapes your lips. As your head leans back, you glance up toward the open sky, where stars begin to stitch themselves into a tapestry, a quiet reminder of the connected worlds underfoot and overhead. In the peace of your kitchen, the wildness of the market seems like a daydream. The flavors coaxed from these lands, their spices and fruits, all hum in harmonious chatter, urging you quietly now toward a restful anticipation, the sweetness of the night's comfort that lies just ahead with every soulful dish, a lullaby composed within the cradle of your newfound Sahali's home. Smoke from the hearth curls around you, mingling with the scents of stone and earth. You shift on the wooden bench, feeling the warmth from the nearby fire seep into your bones, and you can't help but give a small, contented sigh. The atmosphere is a blend of bustling energy and calming familiarity, an ancient rhythm you find comforting You're seated around what's practically a cauldron, where a stew bubbles and simmers merrily. You catch the aromas, sharp and citrusy notes that seem to dance into the air, stirred by your host's hand. These Selim grains, known in these parts as Ethiopian pepper, are tiny but powerful. They're conversation starters by day and dinner enhancers by night, the soul of tonight's meal. Some have poetically dubbed it the ember's whisper. And as you savor the aroma, you think, well, that's not far from the truth. You breathe it in deeply, letting the zestful pepper tease your senses, half expecting it to whisper gossip and not just flavor. The evening is a bit chilly, the kind of crispness that encourages leaning closer together for warmth. You hear the soft clanking of metal pots, the quiet chatter of distant conversations punctuated by laughter, as sparks from the fire pop into the evening air like mischievous fireflies with their own agenda. The talk of the day comes and goes as a gentle breeze flits through, and you realize how small moments of stillness seem more profound at night. As you reach for another piece of flatbread, you catch sight of the peppercorns, their dark, glossy appearance promising a depth of flavor that's both familiar and exotic. It makes you ponder, as you often do in these moments, the things that span across time and culture like spices and stories. Have you heard the tale about Selim grains? Someone asks, nudging you in a soft continuation of the evening's flow. You shake your head curious and ready for a story that matches the flavor complexity you're about to experience. Legends say, they continue, that once long ago a merchant from Ethiopia traveled far with these grains, claiming they held mystical properties. Their voice takes on an almost conspiratorial tone, and you find yourself leaning in. Historians still debate whether it was the merchant's charm or these peppers' actual qualities that won the hearts and palates of kings and queens. They add with a wink, you can't help but chuckle at the notion of such simple peppercorns causing such a ruckus in royal circles. The thought tickles you royal court intrigue over a stew ingredient. But you suppose stranger things have happened throughout history. The conversation lulls for a moment as if giving everyone a chance to digest the playful revelation. The mellow hum of nature fills the silence, a perfect backdrop to your thoughts, as you muse upon the intertwined fate of flavors and human tales. You wonder how many generations have sat, just like you, sharing stories over meals that somehow feel both new and ancient. As you dip the bread into the stew, letting it absorb every bit of warmth and aroma, you savor the mysterious smoky heat dancing on your palate. It's a complex tango of flavors and textures that you imagine would have been just as tantalizing centuries ago as it is tonight. Your host smiles knowingly, as if understanding your silent appreciation extends beyond the meal itself to include this woven tapestry of history and hospitality. As you settle back, enjoying the comfortable weight of a full belly, the fire casts playful shadows that twirl around like phantom dancers. You find your eyelids getting heavier, lulled by the quiet certainty that in all the complexity of people and places, some connections are as simple as shared meals, seasoned with pepper, Ethiopian or otherwise. You emote silently a kind of gratitude for the timelessness captured in something as simple as tonight's stew, a promise that even as histories and stories shift with the sands of time, there will always be warmth to be found in shared tastes and tales. Pondering this, your head nods slightly to the rhythm of night sounds, a chorus led by the crackling hearth, the evening's magic woven with a sprinkle of Selim grains, seeps gently into your dreams, leaving you at peace, cocooned in the warmth of the fire and whispered stories that resonate as deeply as the ember's quiet crackle. Still immersed in the soft glow of twilight, you find yourself standing amidst a gathering of huts, thatched roofs, casting elongated shadows on the dusty ground. There's a subtle chill in the air, something you might find comforting, like an old woolen blanket that smells faintly of nostalgia. The village is coming alive in its own quiet way, as small fires flicker to life, their smoke curling into the darkening sky, like whispers of stories being told. Your journey today has brought you here to a time and place where the aromatic embrace of simmering pots wafts through the air, teasing your senses with hints of what's to come. You meander slowly, guided more by instinct than intention, towards the heart of the village, where a large communal fire crackles with animated energy. A group of elder women gather around a massive ceramic pot, their faces softened by the fire's glow, laughter and casual conversation weaving a tapestry of sound that flows seamlessly into the rhythm of the night. You can't help but linger, drawn in by their presence, the way the silvery smoke dances upward, carrying secrets and scents alike. Tonight the focus is on a white pulp of Baobab pods. These hardy pods, revered for generations, hold within them a secret ingredient that transforms humble ingredients into something nearly transcendental. You've often wondered how that tart, almost floral note could feel both invigoratingly fresh and comfortingly familiar, like the first sip of your favorite tea on a brisk autumn evening. With deft hands, the women crush the white pulp into a fine powder, the action so practiced and fluid that it's almost poetic in its execution. When added to a simmering sauce, it thickens with deliberation and imbues everything it touches with its unique essence, a characteristic deeply cherished, especially on those nights when the cool air seems to seep right down into your bones, and the yams bubble quietly like a cozy subterranean symphony. You can almost taste it now, the tangy brightness cutting through the rich, sweet earthiness of the yams. It's surprising how a simple ingredient can elevate a meal so profoundly, an alchemy of flavors that defies logic, yet feels perfectly right. Historians still debate whether the first Baobab pod was discovered by accident or insight. But tonight you care only for the result of such discoveries. As you watch, an elderly woman tilts the ceramic pot, letting the thickened sauce drizzle over the steaming tubers with an elegance that seems so casual yet reverent. You lean in, slightly elbows perched on your knees, hands clasped together in anticipation. The scent is intoxicating, a mingling of all the elements that have preceded this moment, earth, fire, night, and the collective memory of the many times this recipe has brought warmth to the heart of the village. A curious little child eyes wide with wonder, perches beside you, mimicking your posture, with a seriousness that strikes you more as adorable than anything else. You share a knowing glance, a silent understanding that this meal is more than food. It's the lifeblood of community, a woven thread that ties individuals together through time and tradition. The first taste is always the same, an awakening of your senses that unfurls slowly, like the first light of day stretching over the horizon. And with each bite, you feel a bond grow, a connection to those who've sat here before you, savoring this very essence from ages past to this moment. You chuckle softly at the child beside you who, after tasting the sauce, pulls a face of exaggerated delight only to quickly dive back in for another bite. It's a reaction that mirrors your own internal amusement, a reminder that simplicity above all can hold profound beauty. Is it magic, the child whispers to you, eyes full of innocence and curiosity? You grin back, feeling the warmth of the fire reach deeper, some might say so. But then what isn't magic if it brings us right here together? A breeze stirs gentle and playful, carrying with it the rustle of leaves and the faint, far-off call of nighttime creatures beginning their own symphony as day gives way to night. Watching the villagers each lost in their world of flavors and stories, a sense of calm envelops you, pressing down gently on your eyelids, bidding you to soften your focus from the present, just while savoring each moment. In the comfortable lapse of time, the night sky blossoms above stars, winking into existence like ancient observers, daring you to ponder their journey. Here, amidst the simplicity of life, the unspoken acknowledgement surrounds you of history, tradition, and the art of living in the moment, making you want to stretch this moment just a little longer before night falls completely asleep beside you. As the fire settles into glowing embers and the voices soften to whispers, you find peace in this shared experience. You hope that somewhere in the span of existence, someone will remember the quiet elegance of Baobab, shining in the limelight of simplicity, drawing you into restful slumber, one comforting taste at a time. You find yourself in a time when a whisper of spice was enough to change the fate of kingdoms and the course of history. The small, unassuming seeds, known as grains of paradise, make their way under your fingertips, tingling like pepper, yet they diffuse a delicate aroma, reminiscent of cardamom. You're standing in the bustling kitchen of a medieval castle, a place where the air is thick with the warmth of the hearth flames, dancing eagerly beneath bustling pots. Here, amidst the clattering of pots and lively murmurs of cooks, you'll discover the seed's prestigious dual identity. These grains not only liven royal meals, but were cautiously mixed into love potions, a pinch thought to kindle passions with rumors of practicality and a dash of hope, or was it desperation? You chuckle softly to yourself. After all, historians are still at odds about whether these potions truly worked, or were just medieval tinder with extra steps. An older cook with a kind face and a round flour-dusted belly is explaining to you their uses. They say a great king's heart was once won with these fiery seeds. He adds, his voice barely rising above a stage whisper, as if sharing a secret lost to time. You nod thoughtfully, wondering if the idea of love being enchanted rather than earned wasn't just a convenient tale for those guilt-ridden royals seeking absolution for invitation-only infatuations. The kitchen smells as rich as the dream of an endless feast, with the scent of roasted meats, mingling with herbs and spices, each one with its own story and secret. You survey the scene. Sunshine streams through narrow windows, casting lines of light against the stone walls and creating a pleasant patchwork of shadows on the floor. You smirk quietly to yourself. It's a world away from your tidy cupboard at home, filled with neatly labeled spice jars and the occasional forgotten bag of quinoa. One young apprentice, slightly overwhelmed yet eager, asks you, "What would you use them for?" You ponder for a moment, absent-mindedly rolling a seed between your thumb and forefinger. Would they add a surprising peppery zest to a modern salad, or transform a mundane chicken dish into something quite befitting a feast? The cook's eyes twinkle as he watches your contemplation, as if he already knows the decision one might make. Your attention shifts momentarily to a tapestry hanging in the corner, depicting a royal banquet in rich colors, the lords and ladies with their extravagant hats and flowing garments, all gathered around a table laden with unspoken delights. It's a setting ripe with revelation. Those meals were more than sustenance, but symbols of status power and often secrecy. If a juicy roast peacock, adorned with painstakingly placed grains of paradise, wasn't fascinating enough, then perhaps the whispered rumors of its second life, as a potential potion of affection, might pique the interest. The thought makes you grin. It's nice to think that even in the medieval world, they might have also needed a hearty helping of humor to go with their love life, just like now. But there's also a quiet grace in these seeds, isn't there? Beautifully simple yet, carrying the weight of desire and fascination. Whether sprinkled over stately dishes or ground into hopeful concoctions of romance, these seeds carried a whisper of possibility, the spice of what might be. And perhaps that's where their true magic lies, not in what they can do, but in the promise they hold and the stories they've started. You exhale slowly, eyes lingering on the motes of dust floating lazily in the sun's golden beams. As you prepare to leave the kitchen, a couple of grains slip from your hand like tiny treasures, escaping into the nether of the stone-flagged floor, reminding you of the many secrets they've seen and kept. In the soft hum of your thoughts, you feel the story continue to weave itself around you, drawing you into its gentle cadence, much like the pull of a memory half remembered. Just as you step beyond the threshold, the old cook catches your eye and gives you a wink. "For the palace or for love?" he asks teasingly, nodding towards the bag of grains you're clutching. You merely smile in reply, thinking that perhaps some things are best left to the imagination or the aroma of cardamom in the air. You watch the glow of the fire flicker across the humble kitchen as you step inside, drawn by the sweet scent of charred onions and something tangy in the air. It's a place rooted in the past where ancient culinary secrets float like whispers amid the smoky haze. In this quiet corner of time, salt is more precious than gold, and cooks seek different means to season their dishes. The hearth crackles gently, casting shadows that dance along the earthen walls painted with specks of soot. You can almost hear the faint clatter of wooden spoons against clay pots as food slowly stews a symphony of savory aromas. Your bare feet tread softly across the dirt floor, earth cool beneath your touch, while the scent of tamarind, a sour exuberance, tickles your nostrils and conjures images of vibrant leafy forests teeming with fruit. You reach the age-worn table where the cooks, wise in their craft, yet wrapped in mystery, perform their ritual. An elderly woman, lines of wisdom etched on her face, nods to a younger helper, who then carefully grinds charred onion ash with a stone mortar. The powdery residue is rich, dark, and full of potential. Will it taste like ashes? You ponder aloud, unable to hold back the question that bubbles from within. Laughter, a gentle echoing chuckle, emerges from the woman, her eyes twinkling like the night sky. Sometimes, little one, she replies, the best dishes are born from the unlikely. Historians still debate whether these recipes were born from necessity or inspiration. But one thing is clear: they bring texture and a hint of tang that rivals even the most elaborate of spices. Despite, or perhaps because of, your initial skepticism, you find yourself captivated by the process. The young helper uses nimble fingers to sprinkle the onion ash over a steaming pot. The aroma that rises is surprising. A sweet, smoky scent that lures you closer still until you're leaning over the cauldron, eyes wide with curiosity. Meanwhile, another cook is hard at work on the opposite side of the kitchen. Her hands move skillfully, grounding termites. Yes, actual termites. You weren't expecting that, and a small shudder of disbelief runs through you. Who knew even a termite could become a culinary treasure? The cook chuckles, catching the look on your face. Not such a fan of termites, she quips with a grin. Well, neither was I till I tried it, she assures you, her tone comforting and free of judgment. There's a slight crunch as the tiny insects transform under her careful touch, adding protein and a unique flavor that's more sought after than you anticipated. Surprise colors the evening's atmosphere as you consider that even the tiniest of creatures can hold culinary power. You feel your skepticism soften, replaced by a whisper of wonder that fills the space between reality and legend. Outside, the moon rises high, illuminating the landscape in silver hues. It's a cool night and a soft breeze carries the fragrance of herbs that thrive nearby. Tamara, your imaginative assistant, quietly hands you a cup of spiced brew that warms your hands and heart. Its prevalent presence comforts you, wraps around you like a favorite wool blanket, as soothing as the rhythm of a distant lullaby. Conversation drifts with the smoke, and you feel soothed, almost as if the richness of this ancient world seeps into your skin. You enjoy the subtle tang of tamarind that cuts through the richer flavors, and a slow spreading warmth blooms from within. The simplicity of these ancient foods becomes clearer as time slips by, golden moments tucked away like hidden treasures. A sense of time-worn peace settles over you, immersing you deeper into this slow-moving world where every act is infused with history and care. You glance at the platter laid out on the wooden table, its colorful contents reminiscent of a painting come to life. It invites you to taste, to savor, to appreciate each mouthful as a brush stroke in the grand masterpiece of the meal. Perhaps you muse quietly to yourself, Perhaps this feast is richer than gold. The thought amuses and satisfies all at once, warming you against the night's chill. A gentle reimagining unfurls as you close your eyes, a tapestry of textures and vivid flavors dancing like dreams. A world where the unexpected is not merely welcomed, but celebrated, transforming a humble hearth into the home of culinary creation that defies time's linear march. Whispers of ancient tales begin to lull you deeper into relaxation, and the rhythmic crackle of the fire becomes your guide. The sounds around you grow soft and dreamlike, floating gently through your thoughts till they land softly in the realm of sleep. Somewhere close by, another log shifts in the fire, sending sparks skyward, mirroring the stars that vigilantly watch over the world. You feel a sense of connection to the earth, to the elements, to those long past who lived and cooked in harmony with nature's bounty. Your thoughts drift on a leisurely journey, wandering through fields of spices and forests of fragrant possibilities that invite exploration. There's something eternally comforting about knowing that every ingredient has a story just waiting to be unearthed and retold. Now, as you rest, the night enfolds you with promises of continued discovery and a gentle wonder at all that life offers, even in its simplest dances. The steady hush of time passes by, weaving through dreams that whisper gently into your ear, wrapping you in the softness of a night that belongs to antiquity itself. And as sleep takes you fully, you are held tenderly within the embrace of stories that have no end, only continuations, woven with the delicate threads of history that softly cradle your dreams. As you wander, you hear whispers of tales carried by the breezes. Tales of a seed wrapped in mystery and myth, its power said to give young children the gift of early speech, or perhaps the more curious one of making your dreams repeat. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also shout out your location and what time it is there in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You meander through a cobblestone lane, eyes catching on stalls adorned with vibrant textiles and wooden trinkets. The sun is setting, bathing the scene in a golden hue, and for a moment you lose yourself in the warm glow. You find yourself amidst ancient brick buildings, the evening breeze whispering through archways, as you follow those soft tales that seem to beckon you closer. Nestled in a corner lies an old apothecary, its wooden door slightly ajar. Inside, shelves are filled with glass jars, each containing a miracle or a myth. One particularly dusty display catches your attention, a small sack labeled simply Nutmeg. This isn't the European kind you've heard of. No, this seed is far richer in hue, with a depth that hints at secrets long kept. An elder shuffles behind the counter, his robe trailing softly on the worn wooden floor. He too is a keeper of stories. His eyes twinkle as he nods toward the nutmeg. Ah, the seed of dreams, he murmurs, voice like rustling parchment. Did you know, he continues almost conspiratorially, that this here can help a babe speak as clear as the morning? You raise an eyebrow, amused by the thought. You wonder if they ever truly believed this would work. historians still debate whether such claims hold any truth. Could something so small wield such fantastical powers? The elder chuckles, revealing gaps in his weathered smile. Or it might let you live your wildest dreams again. And again. His eyes grow wistful, lost in a memory. I once dreamed I was a great dancer. He confides, shifting his feet like a younger, more agile man. But I woke up to the disappointment of my 2 left feet. Your mind drifts to ancient tales of far-off lands where spices were once worth their weight in gold. You imagine camels trudging along dusty trade routes, burdened by sacks of mysteries, stories that would travel miles from one hearth to the next. The warm, spicy scent of the nutmeg fills the air, seducing your senses, making the past feel as tangible as the wooden counter beneath your fingertips. The Portuguese once guarded these seeds fiercely. The elder adds his hands, gesturing expansively. Nations tussled over tiny dots on the map just to control their trade. You nod, picturing vast creaking ships on tumultuous seas, captains who'd fight at dawn for the right to barter in spices. Ah, the lengths one would go to flavor a dreary porridge. As you stand there absorbing tales and aromas, a cat sachets past tail, flicking with casual disinterest. It seems even this feline is a keeper of secrets, though he guards his well. The elder's voice draws you back. Think about it. A single pinch could transform a meal or even a life. You ponder this as you leave the apothecary, the door creaking softly shut behind you. The world outside seems quieter, the shadows longer. You clutch your own little sack of nutmeg tighter, as if cradling potential itself. The journey home is peaceful, the path illuminated by the silvery glow of moonlight. You walk through the leafy embrace of a quiet garden where fireflies blink lazily. The night air is sweet, and you half expect whispers of myth to greet you at every bend. Out of the corner of your eye, you glimpse a gnarled old tree, its trunk twisted with age. It's as if it too has listened to a lifetime of stories, its boughs heavy with dreams. You find yourself lingering beneath it just for a moment, wondering what tales it could tell if only it could speak. As you stroll back into the warm glow of your home, you feel a sense of calm settle over you, shoulders relaxing into the gentle embrace of night. The cozy space is familiar, your safe haven from the mysteries outside. You place the nutmeg on a shelf, casting a soft, lazy glance toward it as you sink into an armchair by the fireplace. The flames crackle softly, casting flickering shadows that dance around the room, much like the elder's feet in his imaginary ballroom. As your eyelids flutter heavy with the day's stories, you wonder if tonight's dreams will be your own, or a reflection of whispered myths, carried by the seed nestled in its place of honor. In the quiet comfort of your home, you can almost hear the rustle of spice markets and the hum of tales unwritten. You let out a slow breath. Let the warmth of the fire lull you, and the echo of ancient markets carry you softly into sleep once more. From dawa dawa to cassava leaf, much of the flavor came from what grew low to the ground, chopped, dried, stirred, and never wasted. You find yourself standing in the middle of a lively market under the warm glow of the setting sun. Vendors' stalls crafted from old wood and patched rags bustle with the vibrant colors of fruits and spices. You inhale deeply the air thick with the blended sense of earth freshness and a hint of fermented pungency from a nearby pile of dawa. As you walk between the rows, you marvel at the resilience in each ingredient, for much of what you see here was never intended for waste. Dawa itself, derived from the locust bean, holds a rich, almost cheesy aroma and was known to save many a dish from blandness. You wonder if anybody in history ever considered it their secret weapon. A vendor smiles, offering you a taste of ground nut soup concocted with cassava leaf, its deep green flecks visible within the creamy concoction. You accept the wooden spoon he hands you, noting the smooth texture and the comforting warmth it exudes. "Only the best leaves," he says with a knowing nod, as if he read your mind on quality control. "Grown low they are," he adds, close to where they keep the secrets. You chuckle at his whimsical explanation, amused by the mystery of what might be hidden in a cassava plant's daily diet. Historians still debate whether cassava leaf rich in nutrients was an accidental discovery or a deliberate innovation. As you taste the soup, its depth of flavor tells you that, regardless of its origin, it's enriched countless lives, quietly supporting bustling towns like this one. Your exploration takes you onward to a small courtyard, where moments of history linger in the worn cobblestones beneath your feet. The courtyard shaded by a few ancient trees, whose roots seem to have intentions of their own spreading like creeping fingers across the path, borders what used to be market gardens. It's easy to imagine children plucking vegetables under watchful eyes, or a local chef hand-picking herbs with practiced precision. Overhead, the sky begins to pour soft hues of orange and purple, a celestial painter perfecting their craft. You linger there bathed in soft light, thinking about how the simplest, humblest goods can transform an ordinary dish into a time-honored tradition. The roots of culinary culture, much like the cassavas, grow deep, but start so close to the ground. The calm of the evening is interrupted only by chatter from a nearby cooking circle. A small group of people gathered around a makeshift stove, laughter and teasing floating like music. Curious, you draw closer, listening to their banter about cooking, fails, triumphs, and the occasional culinary disaster turned delight. One elderly woman, cheeks crinkling with delight, shares a memory of a wasp-infested breadfruit, which to her shock produced the most delightful jam after some quick thinking and a lot of sugar. The flavor of their camaraderie is as rich as that of their stews, and you find yourself caught up in sharing tales of your own real or imagined. Every story offers a nugget of wisdom. Every pot releases an aroma that could sing you to sleep. As the night deepens around you, you let out a satisfied sigh, glad for your journey through these sensory landscapes. The world, like dinner tables everywhere, is full of history and flavor for those willing to taste and listen. Your shoulders relax, and you feel enveloped by a sense of shared history, a blend of laughter, aromas, and time, all of which grow low to the ground. Tonight we gently wander down a path of savory memories. Picture this, a humble kitchen where the air is rich with the smell of bubbling stews and the clatter of pots. The hearth is crackling softly, the wood faintly hissing like a lullaby almost forgotten. Each pot on the stove holds stories simmering within. Let's start with the well-used stew pot, its surface etched with the patina of countless dinners past. You lift the lid and inhale deeply, the scents mingling like friendly neighbors in lively conversation. Imagine if pots could talk the tales they'd tell. Perhaps you'd hear about the Byzantine Empire, where kettles were painstakingly burnished and lent a smoky aroma that seasoned each soup. Some historians grin at the notion some pots might still carry whispers of victory feasts or stealthy kitchen capers. Then there are pots that remember a family's spice mix like a culinary diary passed from hand to hand. Still others recall tongues of flame kissing their bellies during boisterous feasts, sibling to the quiet silences of midnight snacks. And let's not forget about the dearly debated magic pots, those supposed to imbue a brew with luck or love, depending on the alignment of stars or the whimsy of cooks long gone. You stand there wondering, could all these flavors really be stored in inanimate metal and clay? Or is it perhaps our minds, savoring the stories alongside the spoons? Your fingers absently trace the swirling patterns worn onto your own cherished pot, and you realize you've been standing there a while smiling at such fanciful notions. A pot's legacy isn't so different from family recipes handed down like precious heirlooms. Have you heard of Thomas Jefferson's vanilla ice cream recipe? A concoction so treasured its creamy whispers have echoed through generations. You imagine the custard cooling in pewter bowls and find it somewhat amusing that back then ice cream was rarely vanilla. Such scandalous boldness from old Tom. The kitchen is warm and filled with expectations whispered on the tendrils of steam rising from the pots. You roll up your sleeves, immerse your hand in deft stirring, savoring the velvety promise of dinner, not just today, but for days gone and yet to come. It's kind of like a culinary time machine transporting you backward and forward, yet somehow keeping you firmly anchored in the cozy now. The memory-resilient pot feels solid in your grasp, much like ancient Chinese bronze vessels, revered by scholars. Yet the exact tempering method remains an elusive mystery. Some claim it's the alchemy of fire and metal. Some say it's the cook's gentle touch. No one may ever precisely know, but isn't that part of the magic? Lost in thoughts of flavors, you catch sight of a recipe card, worn by time, resting patiently on the windowsill. Beside it lies a sprig of thyme pun, intended discarded by the cat, who clearly didn't appreciate its aromatic potential. The recipe calls insistently, and as you reach for the ingredients, you chuckle at how cooking feels like holding hands with history. Or perhaps it's simply the gentle grace of comforting rituals in a world that spins ever so madly. A neighbor peeks through slightly ajar curtains drawn by the delicious aromas wafting through the thick evening air. Is that your famous stew? They shout jovially, and you nod with a slight grin. It's a knowing exchange, like passing a secret handshake across garden fences. Care to join, you respond, and the offer hangs warmly. Between you, an invitation more nourishing than the meal itself. The sense of community glows in the gentle flicker of lamp-lit windows, casting silhouettes of stories on kitchen walls. And thus, with each stir of the pot, with every seasoning pinch and dash, you contribute a line to the narrative each pot holds. It's a tapestry, woven with splatters and sizzles, laughter and lingering scents, a history not chronologically bound, but sweetly flavorful. You realize as the evening stretches lazily how intertwined people and food have always been. From medieval travelers with their seasoned turrets of smoked meats to the bustling markets of ancient Rome, where clay pots often broke precious oils in spectacular fashion. The pots and pans clattered out songs of everyday heroes, and whispered secrets to willing ears drowned in busy chatter. You shake your head fondly, and as the night deepens, the world outside settles into a hush. The stove is tidied, and the pots sit cooling, their stories resting until the morrow. You don't just feed your belly, you feed your spirit with these tales. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, perhaps you'll dream of pots that remember and stoves that share legends as ancient as starlight. Perhaps the memory of a spoon that once stirred stews for emperors will tiptoe into your thoughts just to linger a while. As you close your eyes and let your breathing align with the gentle rhythm of night, you can almost hear the bygone simmer of history's kitchen symphony. And with that, you slide into a gentle dreamscape where earthenware cups clink in salutation, where every flavor is a note in an endless, harmonious lullaby. From the ancient halls of distant lands to your own welcoming kitchen, the sounds and scents weave through dreams, lulling you with the promise of discovery and the tender hum of stories yet told. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love for you to comment your location and local time too. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As your eyes close and consciousness sinks into the shared dream of an ancient marketplace, vivid textures unfold beneath the warm African sun. You walk down a dusty path, lined with bustling stalls, each displaying vibrant arrays of fruits, textiles, and mysterious bottles containing fermented treasures. The air is thick with anticipation, and there it is, the unmistakable, unforgettable scent of fermented locust beans. It's sharp enough to make your nose twitch, but with a subtle earthy allure that keeps you intrigued. You find yourself standing before a small stand, where a wiry old vendor greets you with a gap-toothed smile, eager to share his wares. He scoops a portion of a thick brown paste from a clay pot, with a practiced flick of his wrist, the dense aroma swirling around you. Ogiri, he announces, his voice carrying the weight of countless generations. Historians note that such fermented products were often exchanged as valued commodities, and you wonder how many lives revolved around this pungent paste. Curiosity gets the better of you, and with a cautious glance, you take a small bite. The taste is bold, maybe an acquired delight, but there's an undeniable satisfaction in connecting with the past through your taste buds. The old vendor tells you of ogiri's uses in local stews and soups, swearing it possesses medicinal properties that would make even a weariest traveler feel rejuvenated. You can't help but smile, imagining this robust paste being touted as the secret to vitality in ancient tales. Skeptics might roll their eyes, yet here you are, a willing participant in the dining traditions of old. And as you meander away from the stall, Still pondering if some flavors are best left in their time, you stumble upon a larger stall surrounded by a medley of animated chatter. Here the air is heavy with an almost bittersweet fragrance. Iru shouts a lively voice from within the crowd, belonging to a young woman who juggles several activities without breaking a sweat. Iru is legendary for its place in Yoruba cuisine, often turning an ordinary dish into something truly transcendent. You follow the crowd and are invited to watch as she expertly incorporates Iru into a simmering pot, a mesmerizing dance of culinary skill. As you watch the beans dissolve into the bubbling stew, you can't help but be swept up by a sense of community, the understanding that food here isn't just sustenance, it's a way of bringing people together. A light breeze ruffles your hair, carrying with it the faint echoes of laughter from children playing nearby. It feels almost like a warm embrace, a reminder that beneath the boldness of these flavors lies a heartbeat of warmth and familial bonds. Those around you are quick to offer spoons, eager to share, and you join in tasting a piece of living history passed down through countless hands and hearts. The stew is hearty, comforting, whispering tales of homes, traditions, and celebratory feasts. You can't help but laugh when the young woman adds with a wink, "Iru is our secret ingredient for strength and happiness." Still debating whether that's just our grandmother's way to make us eat it. As the sun arcs towards the horizon, the shadows lengthen, guiding your steps along a side path leading to more wonders. You encounter a man intently grinding locust beans under a baobab tree, its massive trunk casting a protective shadow over his labor. Here the earth subtly shifts from gentle slopes to rich, fertile lands, perfect for sustaining the wild locust trees, the bearers of these unique pods. He gestures you over and you find yourself kneeling at his side, drawn into conversation about Sumbala's rich traditions. Southern Sahara folks are said to debate whether their Sumbala's unique tang arises more from technique or the age-old soils themselves. You listen as he speaks of rituals of beans blessed by elders before the fermentation begins, of Sumbala's deep ties to the ancestral spirits believed to watch over their land. All around, small beetles hum and crickets chirp a symphony rising with the twilight. You help the man fold the ground paste into large leaves, tucking them away to ferment. Instinctively, you know this is a moment suspended in time, where simple acts connect you to past generations and the mysteries of how these ingredients shaped their world. A small smirk forms on your lips, pondering if they too laughed at the first encounter with these strong flavors. Was it a reluctant acceptance or love at first bite? You stand brushing the earthy traces from your hands and offer your thanks. As you wander back onto the path, the night sky like a velvet tapestry envelops you stars, scattering like pearls across the ceiling of the world. The air is cooler now, a gentle caress against your skin as you step away from today's journey. You reflect on the past hours steeped in the heart of histories forged by the locust bean and its strong, unyielding perfume, a bridge between you and ages long past. It's a story unbroken by time and distance, feeling more vivid with each step you retrace toward the place you began. Gently, you blink your eyes open, returning to the present, the hum of the fan combining with the echoes of the past, to lull you further into relaxation. As you lie there, the narratives merge seamlessly into dreams, timeless and familiar, as though you too were part of their story all along. The kitchen is warm and dimly lit, with shadows flickering softly against the stone walls. You stand before a long weathered table covered with wooden bowls filled with an assortment of ingredients. The scent of herbs hangs heavily in the air, thyme, rosemary, and something else you can't quite place, maybe savory or a touch of marjoram. You dip your fingers into a small pile of flour and watch the light powder cascade back down like grains of sand through an hourglass. As you reach for the pestle, you hear a distant murmur, the comforting crackle of the wood smoke from the hearth. It's a low and mellow sound, quite unlike the frantic energy of modern kitchens, with their clanging pots and sizzling pans. Here, everything moves at a slower pace, inviting thoughts to reach back in time to Eres, when cooking was more of a meditative act than a competitive sport. You begin to grind the spices against the stone in steady circles, your arm moving rhythmically. It's easy to lose yourself in the hypnotic motion and the slowly intensifying aroma. This blend was used in dishes during medieval feasts. You imagine nobles and peasants alike savoring these flavors, perhaps even mingling around a long table as they listened to tales of adventure and far-off lands. They probably had no idea what a calorie was, yet they seemed to manage just fine without Fitbit reminders. Your mind wanders briefly. You wonder if medieval chefs ever took selfies with their dishes. Was that even a historical debate? Or just a modern-day irony? The broth simmers gently on the nearby hearth, a heavy iron pot contentedly bubbling away. You reach for a ladle, its wooden handle warm and smooth from years of use. As you stir, you let the ingredients dance and swirl together, forming patterns on the surface. These are the moments stories are woven into meals, whispered legends mixed quietly, as if conjured from the steam itself. Overhead, the wooden beams creak softly, adding their own voice to the kitchen's symphony. It's hard not to smile at the simplicity of it all. No timers buzzing, no anxious glances at an oven clock. Just you, the gentle sounds of cooking, and centuries of culinary whispers guiding your hands. Perhaps the most surprising fact of all is this: the knowledge of food was once as tightly guarded as state secrets. Old recipes carried a weight of tradition and status. Some historians claim apprentices were sworn to secrecy, their loyalty binding as tightly as their aprons. Others argue that only the taste of a dish could truly reveal its secrets passed down from each precise pinch and pour. You muse if anyone ever forgot an ingredient just to keep a lucky charm or two hidden in the cook's repertoire. You lift a ladle to your lips, blowing softly before tasting the concoction. The warmth spreads through you, bringing hints of the spices you've just ground, a layering of flavors awoken by the gentle heat. With each sip, you can almost hear snippets of conversation from a long-forgotten dining hall, laughter punctuating the evening air. Just then, a small door in the corner of the room swings open, and someone steps into the kitchen. Their cloak is thick lined with fur to ward off the evening chill. You exchange a knowing glance. It's the look of kindred spirits who find solace in the quiet craft of cooking. Adding another ladleful of stories. Are we, they ask with a gentle smirk, eyes twinkling like the stars just beginning to appear in the twilight sky. You nod, acknowledging the alchemy of the kitchen, where ingredients and imagination blend seamlessly. Perhaps a tale of knights and dragons adds the perfect spice. You reply, sparking a chuckle. The night is young, and there's time yet to weave more tales into the broth. As the night stretches on the fire's glow, dances gently wrapping you both in its embrace. Each stirring becomes an incantation, each taste a testament to time's slow spiral. It's almost as if the stories simmering in the pot are steeped into the very essence of the walls. Cooking in this quiet sanctuary isn't about the end result, but the journey, the slow dance of flavor and memory. You lean back, listening to the tales dissolve into the soft hum of the simmering pot. The evening deepens, bringing with it a sense of calm and contentment. The stories blend seamlessly into the warm night, carried on the soft breeze that brushes past the kitchen's stone threshold. Here in this tranquil space, the past and present intermingle, whispering secrets only the heart can hear. The scent of cinnamon washes over you as you step into the kitchen of an ancient village, the air thick with anticipation. Like a wave of nostalgia, it brings forth echoes of feasts past where laughter and song intertwined with the fragrant aroma of spices. Candles flicker gently, casting soft, dancing shadows on the worn stone walls, and you wonder if time itself has paused for this moment. Around you, women in vibrant, flowing garments prepare for a celebration. Their fingers move deftly, measuring, mixing, stirring, as if orchestrating the perfect symphony of flavor. With a sly smile, you imagine trying to survive in a world where spice wasn't just an add-on, but an essential thread in the fabric of life. A place where overcooking the rice might just lead to mild exile. But tonight, you're not here as a judge for culinary disasters. Instead, you're here to learn. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. As you settle in, feel free to share your location and the local time down in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself wandering through a maze of stalls draped with colorful fabric as merchants display an infinite array of spices. Each has a story whispered through the vibrant hues and earthy textures. Baobab pods, their gnarled shells, protecting the cherished powder within, are passed hand to hand like precious heirlooms. You can't help but marvel at how this one spice, vital to wedding feasts, holds the power to etch memories deeper than any words. Historians still debate whether Baobab's mystical reputation stems purely from its nutrient-rich profile or from its rarity that once made it a symbol of wealth and health. Grains of paradise promise a peppery surprise, their tiny seeds cradled in a woven basket. You've read that they were once a more precious commodity than gold, transported across treacherous routes that spanned continents. Who knew that a pinch of this spicy indulgence could transform a naming ceremony into an event recounted for generations. As you walk, the cobblestones beneath your feet are worn smooth by countless footsteps, each belonging to someone who, like you, once tread this path in search of the perfect spice. You pause, pondering the countless stories these stones could tell, if only they could speak. You run your fingers over the gritty surface of a nearby wall, feeling the texture as you listen to the faint chatter of the market, a tapestry of languages interwoven with laughter and bargaining. The story continues within an intimate gathering space where history and memory blend into each dish served. A woman sits by the fire, her hands working with the rhythm of tradition as she grinds spices with care. Her eyes twinkle as she shares with you. A monk once said pepper was a present from the gods to tease our tongues. And you chuckle, imagining an ancient deity with a twisted sense of humor. Watching her work, it's easy to forget the century you're from. The way she layers saffron and ginger reminds you of the way people weave tales, each thread essential, each flavor vital. In the dim light, the scent of the pot's aromatic steam embraces you. You close your eyes, resting against the worn wood of the kitchen door, and inhale the rich blend of cumin and clove. There's warmth here, a deep satisfaction that comes from not just tasting history, but feeling it reside within you. Outside, crickets compose a gentle nocturne, rising and falling in time with the evening breeze. The cries of merchants packing up for the night drift lazily across the square, weaving echoes through the thick, spiced air. As you turn away, your foot nudges a small bottle of cardamom, sending whispers of citrus and pine into the air. The future might be different, filled with synthetic flavors and fast food shortcuts, but tonight, here spices aren't simply for taste. They are the sacred key to unlocking a reverie that nourishes both body and spirit. You perch atop an old creaky bench beneath an olive tree and reflect on the connections these spices insist upon between people and traditions, between the past and the fleeting present. You exhale slowly, feeling your shoulders relax and your senses come alive with the saturation of the moment. And so you close this chapter with the rich taste of heritage on your tongue and the soft murmur of stories singing you into dreams. The gentle aroma of spices fills the air, mingling with the soft glow of a dying hearth. You find yourself in a modest kitchen where the warmth envelopes you like a familiar quilt. It's a scene plucked straight from a time when pies cooled on windowsills and recipes were passed down through whispers and song. Here, among the simple wooden bowls and clay pots, you witness a dance of rhythm and routine. In front of you, a woman stirs a bubbling pot with practiced ease. Her wooden spoon moves in time to a melody she hums, a tune handed down across generations. Her daughter is beside her, attentive and eager, learning the ancient art of cooking, not through measurements written on paper, but through a cadence mastered by ear. As she hums, there's a tap of her finger here, a sprinkle of herbs there. You smile at the notion, wondering if you could ever master such an art, cooking by feel, without Wikipedia for backup. You can almost hear the soft voice of your grandmother. Well, if your grandmother were a master chef, that is. Historians still debate whether such musical instruction was unique to specific regions or a wider practice. But as you stand here, the scene is as real as the steam curling upwards, a tangible echo of past lives. You observe the daughter's curious eyes, following the arc of her mother's arm, imitating the precise flick of a wrist that sends a dash of salt cascading into the pot. It's a language all its own. This cookin' symphony notes, composed of aromas and flavors. The mother raises an eyebrow, signaling her daughter's turn. With a deep breath, she mimics the actions, her tiny hands unsure. Your fingers itch to join in to play your part in the culinary orchestra. Don't worry, dear. The mother murmurs soothingly. A pinch more and sing while you stir, that's the secret. And it seems it just might be true. With each rotation of the wooden spoon, the contents of the pot transform, thickening, blending, as if coaxed by the spell of the sung instructions. You begin to wonder if there's some magic in the song itself. Perhaps we should introduce this in modern cooking, shows a catchy tune instead of a step-by-step guide. If only the producers would entertain the idea. The room itself is humble walls lined with jars filled with the season's harvest-dried herbs strung up like nature's decorations. You can almost taste the dusty ground, see the cobwebs catching the light in the rafters. Each element a reminder that crafting a meal is as much about patience as it is about produce. The gentle clink of pottery as ingredients are mixed, the occasional hiss from the coals under the pot, all form the background music of this ancient kitchen. A low chuckle breaks the tranquility, and you notice the daughter glancing at you, her eyes twinkling with a mischief that rivals the sparks from the fire. They say the best cooks have fingers long enough to pluck a note and stir a pot at the same time. "What are yours good for?" she teases lightly. You shrug with a playful grin, feeling a childlike delight in the repartee. "I guess mine are best for finding my next meal," you reply, voice soft, in the hushed camaraderie of the evening. And as you stand there, it's almost as if you belong stitched into the fabric of their nightly rituals. Beyond the curtained window, the world is settling into night. The crickets begin their symphony, an earthier rhythm than the one inside, but a continuation of chorus all the same. The entire environment hums with life and tradition, a delicate balance between what is taught and what is felt. The spoon clinks against the pot one final time as the mother declares the meal ready. She fills bowls with care, the steam a fragrant offering that curls upwards, catching the light. As you take a bowl and feel the warmth seep into your palms, there's a whisper of connection, not just to this small family, but to the countless others who have stirred pots while weaving verbal spells over their concoctions. You sit on the smooth, worn bench and feel yourself exhale, shoulders releasing into the comfort of the scene. Here, history lives in flavors and scents, embedded into the very fibers of the air. It's not just about filling the belly, but feeding the soul. And every sip from that bowl is a nod to the generations before you, each bite a note in a timeless song. You rest your back against the cool stone wall, letting your eyes close just a little lulled by the residual warmth and the fading echoes of the mother's song still playing in your mind. Such moments are more than mere history. They are a reminder that some legacies are built from the simplest of experiences. In this reverie, you find yourself slipping into a gentle twilight, imagining the crackling of the fire as the world's quiet applause for the beauty of learned rhythm and memory, where each hum and phrase of the mothers before synchronizes with the beating of your heart. You step lightly into a dimly lit village kitchen, the earthy aroma of millet wafting through the air. Wooden beams stretch overhead, casting a soft tapestry of shadows on the floor. The weight of tradition hangs in the air, warmed by the glow of an open hearth. You see villagers, their hands moving deftly, each touch stir and sprinkle, laden with a reverence for lost recipes. Even in their rhythmic familiarity, there's an undertone that whispers secrets, because in each of these kitchens lies a peculiar mystery. Perched atop an old stool, you catch sight of a calabash, nestled on a shelf nearly hidden amongst earthen jars. Curiosity piqued. You wonder what secret blend it might contain, left deliberately out of communal recipes. Could it be a concoction that claims to turn stew into legend, or just another reason to emit those satisfied hums after dinner? Your musings are interrupted by the clang of a clay pot, pulling you back into the present. The women around you share stories, laughter peppered with teasing about who makes the best millet porridge. You snort softly, realizing alliances are formed and broken based on whether someone's porridge is too sweet or just right. As you lean closer to the hearth, you remember that African societies have often attached profound importance to food. It's not just nourishment, it's the center of their world. Around these hearths, generations have cooked together, discussing everything under the sun and perhaps the moon. You suddenly find yourself wondering if the moon has recipes of its own too. There's a touch of lightheartedness as you overhear two women bickering over the best way to roast peanuts, their voices mirroring the playful crackle of the fire. A pinch more salt and less thyme, insists one arms akimbo, while the other scoffs and shakes her head. You grin, mindful that some debates, much like the good old peanut roast, never truly lose their flavor. Pondering these culinary battles, your gaze drifts to the corner where an elderly man sits, weaving stories of old. You drift over to hear about the great kingdom of Mali, where stories say mighty Mansa Musa once spent his kitchen afternoons tasting spices brought back from his pilgrimages. Historians still debate whether the secrets of his empire lay in gold or a particularly audacious spice mix. Maybe both, you muse silently. In moments like these, when the world is reduced to a symphony of clinking pots and spoken tales, you're reminded of the solemn past and playful present. The calabash, now more intriguing than ever, tempts you with the adventure of undiscovered tastes. You imagine digging a little under the millet, perhaps uncovering a recipe held by none other in the world. The urge to slip one hand under the familiar grains becomes harder to resist as you consider what could be hidden there, a seed for the world's first tomato or another pantry surprise. You undo a small laugh to yourself, thinking of how the calabash isn't the only one with secrets. Even the Baobab trees outside, with their thick, stubborn trunks, whisper tales of entire lifetimes gone by. Did someone long ago hide a love letter in their hollow cavities, you idly wonder? Maybe they were less concerned with poetry than whether Aunt Zuri's porridge had too much sweet potato again. And then you find yourself eyelashes fluttering against the inevitable pull of sleep as the stories the village holds dear tether themselves to this night's air. The shadows, warm and inviting, seem to cocoon you gently, like ears of millet cradling hidden treasures from those who seek. Your eyes dim to the lull of soft song and murmured tales, your mind anchored in the soothing blend of old-world charm. Gradually, as your thoughts turn to whispers, you imagine a secret, blends passed down through time as not just recipes, but ciphers to community bonds. The gentle snoring from the corner serves as a bedtime serenade, one you'd swear carries an ancient rhythm. Hidden blends and buried secrets seem far more delightful treasures when you're tucked into the heart of a storytelling kitchen. Sleep pulls you deeper still, where the subtle puff of the hearth and occasional chuckle form a bedtime soundscape like no other. The weight of countless calibrations rests briefly upon you, each swirl of millet meal becoming an invitation to eternal rest. The narratives hold you tenderly like a warm embrace from a world at rest. And so, under the watchful gaze of the village kitchen, your breathing joins the soft symphony, and you step across the threshold of waking thoughts into the territory of dreams, where ancient kitchens hold their own timeless sway. As you step cautiously forward, the rough stones of the pathway pressing beneath your bare feet feel intriguingly familiar. The air holds a fragrance that swirls around you, a comforting mix of spice and sweetness. It's just enough to make you wonder if ghostly hands truly left these offerings, or if it's all an elaborate prank by the local goats. Here in the dim light of dusk, the ancient shrine stands modestly among the trees, its wooden beams weathered but deeply reverent. Your fingers graze against smooth, cool stones, each one miraculously holding stories of the generations who once gathered whispering prayers that now hang in the gentle breeze. The unsettling sensation of watching shadows move along the forest floor makes you chuckle, a defense reflex, surely for those who claim they're not afraid of the dark. Historians still debate whether this humble place was constructed for revered ancestors or forgotten deities. But as the village elders might remember, it mattered little to those who left tiny meals for the unseen world, every grain and crumb filled with hope for guidance or gratitude. You find yourself kneeling at a small alcove where remnants of spiced millet sit in a polished leaf. Its golden hue captures the dimming light, hinting at turmeric and tiny flecks of pungent clove. The thought hits you suddenly, these portions were placed with such care, as if the departed had discerning palates rivaling your own. You smile, imagining ghostly gourmands, providing their ethereal reviews. Just nearby, a plate of honey cakes waits silently, their tops soaked in a dark syrup of tamarind water, glistening with the promise of sweetness. You lift one, feeling its supple weight, and wonder if its original creators savored its taste first, or placed it directly for the spirit's altruism at its finest, or perhaps a sly attempt to appease before a mischievous encounter. A distant echo of conversations drifts on the wind, gentle words exchanged between villagers long gone. You close your eyes, allowing yourself to become enveloped in their world. Each story, each whispered joy and question finds its place in your mind, almost like revisiting a half-remembered dream. Do you think they see us? A voice asks softly, perhaps a wandering thought that slips through your consciousness. You chuckle, aware fully well that in this place the extraordinary is just an ordinary rumor dancing through the night. There's comfort in these simple rituals. You consider thinking of how, even today, people find ways to touch the past, sometimes literally in search of help with the recipe. But one fact brings a wry grin. In ancient times, many believed that food left unattended would attract the greedy appetites of animals rather than spirits. Yet you think with a sigh of relief, giving ancestors credit for not minding a bit of improvisation by wildlife. The shadows grow longer, drawing you further into contemplation under the watchful gaze of tall cedars. Leaves rustle with what seems a collective sigh as a gentle chill takes residence in your bones, the tender weight of history settling around you. Whispering blessings in hopes of brighter days, you rise, leaving the delicacies undisturbed and offering for those who may venture or remain unseen. As your eyes adjust to the emerging stars, the ancient silent witnesses to all that unfolds below you, sense the peace this moment brings. It's the calm of knowing that life continues its intricate dance, balancing the tangible with that which seems just out of reach. With a serene mind, you meander back, retracing steps marked by cheerful dedications and reluctant goodbyes, pondering on whether the spirits truly linger, or if offerings merely entice curious tales like yours to unravel the mysteries of yesterday. As sleep encroaches, tendrils of dreams weave around your consciousness, rich with fragrances and flavors of forgotten feasts. The night cradles your ponderings like an amalgam of familiar scents, telling not just of ghosts, but the lives that lovingly set the table for them. Your feet find their way instinctively guided by the ebb of curiosity in the embracing tranquility of your surroundings, just as it always has been and always shall be, undirected, yet comfortingly assured. Finally, the path leads you to where evening's blanket wraps softly around the day. And as you drift closer to sleep, a gentle clarity settles within you, knowing that you've walked among the echoes of history until tomorrow's light beckons anew. You find yourself in the dimly lit storeroom of a bustling Italian villa, surrounded by sacks overflowing with all kinds of exotic spices. The air is heavy with the aroma of peppercorns, cloves, and that rare and mysterious grain of paradise. You can't help but stare at it, a small, unassuming seed with the potential to transform any dish. Yet here you are holding one between your fingers without a clue how it may be used. You chuckle to yourself, realizing you're not alone. This tiny spice has journeyed all the way north, only to become the culinary equivalent of a riddle with no answer key. A voice echoes softly from the corner, where an elderly cook, her hair as white as flour, sits mulling over an old parchment. They say it's worth more than gold, but I bet it's just some fancy foreign pea. She muses, her eyes never leaving the page. You smile at her jest, and feel a camaraderie blossom, knowing you've both been caught in the same fragrant mystery. Historians still debate whether the famed grain of paradise was ever truly understood by the cooks of Italy, or if it was hoarded more for its perceived prestige than for any culinary mastery. The room is bathed in the warm glow of a single lantern, swinging rhythmically, casting dancing shadows across the rough-hewn walls. You imagine the countless hands before yours that have puzzled over these ancient spices, working tirelessly by such dim light. You wander outside into the moonlit garden, the cool air a welcome change from the spice-filled storeroom. Olive trees sway gently in the breeze, leaves whispering secrets over your head, as if they know the ancient tales of traders who once sailed to Europe's ports bearing spice-laden cargo. You meander along the cobblestone pathway, appreciating the serenity, your footsteps a rhythmic patter against the stones. As you walk, you recall how these spices came to be here, carried by merchants who braved stormy seas and dusty roads. One can only imagine the tales they told upon reaching port. No doubt they spoke of lands so distant they might as well have been imagined places where spices grew as if by magic. You pause to admire the silvery moonlight glinting off the still surface of a small pond, the world reflected in reverse. You wonder how it must have felt to arrive with these treasures in a land that embraced them, but stumbled over how to fit them into their meals. You chuckle at the thought of an Italian matron heatedly debating whether the grain of paradise would work better in a stew or perhaps as a medicinal remedy. You breathe deeply, shoulders relaxing as the gentle weight of history settles anew. A soft rustling behind a hedge draws your attention back to this dreamscape of gardens and villas. Approaching with curiosity, you find a young boy, clearly an apprentice, scribbling notes. By the light of a candle, he holds precariously in one hand. "Do you know what this does?" he asks, holding up another grain of paradise, with an earnestness that stirs your heart. You find yourself smiling, amused by the ever-present quest for knowledge. "I think it's supposed to taste spicy and a little like pepper," you say, recalling bits of lore passed down through whispered fumblings in kitchens like these. The boy nods sagely as if you've just imparted the greatest wisdom. "I think it explains why Nana's stew is a bit surprising," he says with a grin. You both share a laugh light and ephemeral like the scent of spices on a capricious wind. The villa hums softly with the promise of sleep, the day's activities winding down as stars twinkle lazily overhead. You continue your stroll feeling like you're part of a grand, timeless tapestry woven from threads of trade and trial flavor and exploration. It's comforting to realize that even with its mysteries and uncertainties, history is full of small moments of shared humor and the simple joys of learning something new. Who needed strict instructions when curiosity could lead the way? Just like this grain of paradise. It might not come with a manual, but isn't the adventure of discovery what truly spices up life? Your thoughts linger on this playful notion as the villa's silhouetted profile stands timeless against the night sky, And you find peace in knowing that mysteries like people often hold untold stories waiting patiently to be shared. Your journey begins amidst the dry and crumbling walls of an ancient settlement. The earth beneath your feet feels cool and gritty, as if holding memories with each grain of sand. In the quiet dawn, shadows cast by crumbling structures create flickering patterns echoing the dances of fires long extinguished. The air is thick with tales yet untold, the quiet hum of a world once bustling with life and laughter. As you walk, you stumble upon shards of pottery, remnants of vessels that once held stories in every curve. You wonder if these forgotten people ever imagined their lives pieced together by strangers from the future. Among the pottery, you find the occasional hint of soot, echoes of the meals that once filled these bowls, lentils simmering slowly, barley gruel perhaps stirred with laughter. A slight breeze stirs, and you lean in closer, inspecting the burn marks that stipple one blackened pot. You start to think about the stories these discolorations might tell. Could this be where a meal was once hurriedly cooked over a too-hot flame, or the remains of an ancient festive dish celebrated long into the night under a starlit sky? Your imagination runs wild. You chuckle to yourself, picturing a flustered cook from centuries ago, trying to explain away the burnt bottom of a stew. Some things never change. Historians still debate whether these marks are signatures of cultural practices or mere accidents of history. It's an open-ended mystery, like wondering if that one sock goes missing in the wash through mere misfortune or some grand cosmic plan. As you wander further along this dusty path of discovery, you find scattered seeds blackened and silent. These tiny relics hold secrets, flavors and spices that once teased palates, now lying still and forgotten. There's a playful irony here. Odors once tangible essences of daily life leave no footprint for archaeologists to find, like an elusive breeze that slips through fingers. In a nearby corner, you spot a fellow seeker, a modern archaeologist bent over her work. She's cataloging these ancient whispers, her brush dusting away centuries with gentle precision. They never leave us spoons, she muses, half to you, half to herself. Her voice, soft and warm, mixes with the murmuring wind. Spoons never survive the centuries, I suppose. She continues with a wry smile. Or maybe they just walked off one day and never came back. You chuckle softly at the thought, the image of a rebellious spoon embarking on a solo adventure, amusingly vivid. Scanning the horizon, the ancient landscape stretches out from your imagination, a vision of bustling markets brimming with spices, their scents weaving through the air in vibrant patterns. All that remains now are seeds, burnt and silent, yet still whispering stories, if one listens carefully enough. Engulfed by this echo of a forgotten time, the inevitability of change settles over you like the soft dusk. The lives lived here, the joys and trivialities, are now part of a vast tapestry, written in soil and stone stories, awaiting rediscovery. With each step, leaving behind footprints in the dust, you realize there's a comfort in these remnants, like a shared secret between you and the past. In the fading light, you contemplate your own place in the grand expanse of time, feeling a part of this unending story, one written in spice and silence. It's a reminder that while some things change forever, Other things, like the simple joy of discovering secrets in the soil, remain eternal. You pause for a moment, the cool evening breeze rustling through the grass, and close your eyes. You can almost hear the ancient fires crackling softly in the distance, the whisper of lives lived and lost, each moment eternal, yet fleeting. And so the journey drifts softly into memory, just as the day surrenders quietly to night, the world settling into a gentle, reassuring rhythm. In the village where you've wandered under a sun that sometimes forgets to set for hours, you find yourself invited into a small, bustling kitchen. The air is thick with stories, both of the past and those brewing around the hearth. You watch as an elderly woman, perhaps the grandmother you've heard so much about, moves with a steady grace. Her hands command a wooden spoon, stirring a pot that bubbles with scents you wish you could bottle up and keep forever. Historians still debate whether the empire's massive influence truly reached this far-flung corner, or if the maps were simply ambitious sketches. As you sit on a low wooden stool, you can't help but think that no empire could ever truly own the secrets that simmer in this kitchen. You catch the flash of a smile from across the room, a secret passed down with a sprinkle of spice, a trick only grandmothers and mischievous grandchildren seem to know. Among the spices laid out like a painter's palette, you notice the brightness of saffron, the warmth of cinnamon, and the sharp allure of clove. They speak not of conquering armies, but of traders and travelers, people who know that a pinch of the right spice can transport you to another world. There's a rumor shared in hushed tones that nutmeg was once considered a treasure more precious than gold. You wonder if perhaps somewhere someone still counts their wealth in teaspoons of cardamom. Remember how she used to do it? The question drifts from the doorway, where a young voice breaks the comfortable silence. You smile at the thought as gentle nods pass among the gathered family like a wave. Memories layer upon one another like a millefeuille of time. You notice children imitating their grandmother's gestures, their pretend culinary mastery, both a promise and a playful rebellion against growing up too fast. As the pot continues to bubble, the gentle heat fills the room. You feel your own shoulders relax against the familiarity of this scene, a human tableau that's rippled through countless generations, resilient against time's bite and the empire's reach. Through all manner of droughts, political upheavals, and mundane weeks that melt together, the spices stay constant. They remain a thread woven through the fabric of life, a testament to the resilience of cultural memory, and perhaps irony at its best, humankind's ceaseless need to season life with something richer than salt. Across the way, a window open to a world painted in sepia tones lets in a breeze that tousles your hair and carries the chatter of a neighboring market. You imagine soldiers with serious faces and merchants with clever eyes passing by, not so different from us, though wearing different hues of existence. Empires may rise and fall, but somewhere, someone is always hunched over a pot, entrusting it with the same rhythm that the woman here, with her quiet grace, now shares with you. You find solace in this unending thread of human continuity, in the way she stirs the pot, just as her ancestors likely did before her. and the way she entrusts these same motions to her grandchildren. The stirrings of history blend with the present moment like cinnamon folded into dough. Meanwhile, whispers of "was it always this way" flutter around, yet certainty is elusive, much like the faint scent of herbs carried away by the evening breeze. Even now, some elders rub spice into palms before greetings, leaving a hint of clove tamarind or calabash nutmeg between fingers. You find yourself walking along a narrow path lined with ancient trees that rustle softly in the evening breeze. The air is thick with the aroma of freshly ground spices, a scent so rich it seems to whisper secrets of the ages. Suddenly an elder extends a hand towards you, the lines of his palm etched deeply by time and wisdom. As you clasp it, you can feel the warmth of the spices against your skin, and the fragrance envelops you like a warm embrace. "Hello, traveler," the elder murmurs, his voice as comforting as a well-loved quilt. "You know you probably won't survive the night without slipping into slumber, lulled by these cascading scents and the gentle cadence of his words." You chuckle internally, considering how much more delightful this reality check is compared to the chaotic energy of your midday coffee run. You notice the elder's smile broadens as he continues, "Spices have always been a part of our greetings. Indeed, historians have traced this ritual back through the generations. You can't help but wonder whether the spices were intended to mask less savory odors once upon a time, or if this richness was always purely ceremonial. Historians still debate whether these traditions began as a practical measure or a purely social custom. It's amusing to think that even ancient people might have been concerned with their presentation, just like modern folks spritzing cologne before a big date. Some say the elder continues drawing you deeper into the evening story, that the scent of calabash nutmeg breathes strength and clarity into one's spirit. You walk slowly beside him, the ground beneath your feet softly crunching with fallen leaves that have given up the season's brilliance for a quiet, earthy brown. As you wander, you see others in the village replicating this tradition of spiced greetings, each handshake accompanied by a knowing nod and the exchange of whispered anecdotes. The elder gestures to a nearby young woman who laughs softly as she sprinkles a fine dust of clove into her palm before clasping her friend's hand. You exhale slowly, shoulders easing, as your thoughts drift to whether the future will perceive our traditions with such fond reflection. As the sun dips lower, painting the sky in hues of lavender and rose, you pass by an ornate well, its cool stone weathered yet robust, a testament to decades, perhaps centuries of companionship to those who come to draw water. Your fingers trail against the stone, feeling its chill seep into your skin, igniting a fleeting shiver. The elder pauses to draw water, his voice gently echoing in the well's cavern as he explains an unusual tale about the water's supposed magical properties. They say it can reveal visions of one's ancestors, or possibly just result in a surprise fish meeting you face to face. You suppress a soft laugh at the thought, a dry humor settling in like the shadows around you. Perhaps you'd like to try, the elder suggests with a playful glint in his eye, clearly well aware of the fantastical pull such stories hold. A part of you is tempted to lean over and peer into the past, but you're distracted by a small child covering the edge of the well. With a triumphant giggle, she reveals a treasure, a perfect round stone, just like the marbles you used to collect. Her eyes meet yours, and she offers the stone with a solemn nod, as if inviting you to be a guardian of her newfound treasure. You accept it with equal gravity, tucking it into your pocket as the elder chuckles approvingly. Continuing through the village, you come upon a small fire. Its flames flicker enticingly, casting golden light, dancing off the woolen shawls of villagers gathered around. The warmth draws you in as a gentle voice begins a song weaving notes into the quiet night. You lower yourself onto a nearby bench, the comforting warmth of the flames seeping into your being and coaxing the day's tension away. Here, under the canopy of stars, you find your eyes growing heavy. The song is both a lullaby and a story, spun from the same threads as the heritage you've wandered through tonight. Eyes closed, you let the music embrace you, mind drifting through a tapestry of scents and stories of images from the past. In this serene cocoon of night, you finally allow sleep to envelop you, just as a gentle breeze sends a whisper of spices and song your way, a reminder of the bonds of the past and a promise of tales yet to be told. In the early dawn hours, as you step lightly over the dew-soaked grass, the world feels still caught in a whisper between night and day. You wander towards the circle of old cooking stones, a place dense with the echoes of ancient meals and stories shared lifetimes ago. The air carries a mix of familiar scents, earth mingling with the last wisps of ember, the crisp note of leaf, and a hint of spice that hangs like an unsolved riddle in the misty air. You pause, inhaling deeply, wondering what meals these stones have witnessed, what gatherings they might remember if only stones could speak. Nearby, scattered leaves rustle underfoot, and you can't help but think about the people who once gathered here, ready to break bread and share tales. This simple circle of stones might have been the heart of a thriving community in times past, perhaps back when the Roman Empire stretched its might across continents, carrying not just its legions, but also its recipes, spices, and love for grand feasts. Historians still debate whether Roman soldiers carried garlic in their provisions as a taste of home and source of strength. Imagining such a scene, you envision them gathered around a fire, hopeful to catch a whiff of garlic on a passing breeze, chuckling over tales of Caesars and conquerors. But here you are, centuries removed, with no garlic in hand, unless, of course, you consider the wild garlic you spotted earlier, shyly peeking out from under a thicket. As you brush a hand over these ancient stones, you picture a gathering, the flicker of flames casting shadows, people drawn close by the warmth, and the promise of food. It's comforting in a way that makes the modern hurry seem all the more frenetic. Why rush when the past teaches patience through the slow simmer of a stew? Speaking of stews, you remember reading a peculiar theory. Some cultures in the Middle Ages believed that the longer a stew cooked, the more magical properties it absorbed. Perhaps they were onto something. Certainly nothing beats a well-matured flavor. There's something almost whimsical about considering this, a hint of a smile tugging at your lips despite the early hour. The stones remain silent, though, and you shake away the notion of talking rocks, having too vivid an imagination for this early hour. It's hard not to feel a bit like an archaeologist yourself, each breath pulling history closer. You consider adding a small stone to the circle before winding up an internal debate over historical accuracy. Would that make you a part of this continuum, or simply another amateur tugging at threads? Best left to professionals. Off to the side, you notice a path leading onward into a wilder part of the surrounding landscape. A tuft of yellow blooms catches your eye, its goldenrod, its sunny heads nodding gently in the breeze, a splash of gold against the green. Folklore often ties goldenrod to good fortune and prosperity. Not that you're relying on a flower to stock your pantry. The ground crunches underfoot as you wander further from the circle, trailing your fingers through grasses and wild herbs. Somewhere beneath all these wonders, the earth guards its secrets, seeds of stories, not yet told relics, of ages past awaiting rediscovery. You wonder, do archaeologists experience this same mix of awe and the mundane searching through what feels like a timeless refrigerator in the hopes of uncovering the unexpected? You practice deep breathing the morning, gifting you crisp silence and a tapestry of subtle aromas, a light exercise for the olfactory senses, if you will. Perhaps there's something to be said for grounding yourself here, enveloped in this blend of past and present, a reminder of the cycles of gathering and dispersing. As the sun rises higher, the moment begins to fade, the initial drama of dawn giving way to the gentle hum of the day. It's the kind of transition that invites reflection, where you ponder the stories of those who were here before and what they left behind. This notion of inherited memory tugs at you like a child at a sleeve, insisting remember, acknowledge. Inhaling deeply one last time, you resolve to leave precisely as you found it, untouched, but richer in spirit. You'll carry the sense of earth, ember, leaf, and spice with you, whispers from the stones that will linger in your thoughts as the day unfolds. And really, who could have guessed the morning would unravel such history? There is a soft fluttering nearby, a bird taking wing, and it's time for you to do the same. You step back from the stones, departing quietly, as if leaving a library or sacred place of worship, reverent in your retreat. With each step you shift from the tranquil weight of imagining yesteryears into the vibrant present, slightly more aware of the ground beneath you, the soft breeze playing through your hair, a smile quietly blossoming on your face. You find yourself marveling at how stories layer over time, sometimes vanishing into mere suggestion like spice simmered into broth. As the day warms around you, the world slowly shakes off the blanket of night. You feel a gentle satisfaction, knowing this special understanding between you and the stones will remain ever present, just as they will always be. They're waiting, holding memories in their silent steadfastness for anyone willing to listen. You take this brief connection as its own kind of gift, the unfurling of another day enriched by the past. There's a calming comfort in recognizing the enduring ties between past and present, and how sometimes, in the smallest of ways, you're a part of that tapestry too.